Hey y'all, my name is Taylor. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. So today is going to be a reading vlog, and as you can see by the wisps of steam, I'm cooking right now, so I'm multitasking. Hopefully I won't burn nothing, but yeah, so I started a book today, and I thought while I was reading it that it would be a perfect book to vlog, because I had some thoughts, and I wanted to share my experience with it, and I love vlogs. I love watching other people's vlogs, but you know, I haven't been able to do one in a minute because, you know, vlogs take a little bit more out of me than your typical other type of video, just the different clips and putting them all together and editing and all the things. So I haven't been able to do one in a while, but I do love to create them. So I'm hoping that this will work out and that this will get posted. As far as the book that I am reading Jerusalem's Daughter by Jenna Van Malrick. And she is actually a fellow booktuber. I'll have her channel linked below, but I had wanted to read this for Easter because this is set during the Passion Week. But I didn't get around to it for Easter, but this is still the week after Easter, so I feel like it's still pretty timely. I really wanted to read it this year, so I am. So I got into chapter 1 and I was like, oh, I really want to vlog this. So I'll read you a short snippet from the back just so you have an idea of what it's about. Having grown up in the impoverished lower city of Jerusalem, Shamira is no stranger to injustice at the hands of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Her family is shunned by many in the Jewish community who believe that their misfortune in life is the result of a secret sin. Rumors are spreading of a nearby healer with incredible abilities. If the stories are true, then the Messiah may be near, and Shamira will stop at nothing in the pursuit of a miracle. So, I wanted to share with you a couple of my thoughts from the very beginning. So, the dedication. I don't always read the dedication, but I was curious. Hers is a little bit longer than you just like for dead or whatever. So one of them is to her husband, and it says that when she told him, "I'm writing a book," he simply replied, "Cool." So I love that. It shows part of their personality, their relationship. I thought it was cute. And then she has a note to the reader, and I just love author notes and notes to the readers. Like, it just gives us insight into what an author was thinking, like where they came up with the idea, some of the inspiration, where the characters came from. I just love it. So definitely read that. But she was talking about how she was, it was during Easter Sunday 2018, and she was watching one of her favorite Easter films, which was the 1959 Ben-Hur, and I'm like, girl, yes, Ben-Hur, love that movie. It is so long though. I usually watch it during the Easter season. That or the Ten Commandments, or both, with Charlton Heston, and I love him. But I didn't get around to it this year just because I'm not watching many movies or TV shows these days, so just didn't get around to it. But I'm like, I can respect someone my age who appreciates the 1959 Ben-Hur. Like, I think most people are familiar with the like more modern day remake. I've never seen it. I am like a snob for like the old movies. I don't want to watch a remake, or they just ruin it most of the time. So yes, 1959 Ben-Hur, highly approved. But she also puts that the story stemmed from the verse John 21:25, which reads, "And there are also many other things that Jesus did, which if every one of them were written down, I suppose not even the word itself could contain the books that would be written." So she used that other things to jumpstart the story. And so I just think it's interesting that how biblical fiction writers take one tiny little line of scripture and create a whole story out of it. And this is one of those lines. I haven't read John yet. Actually, I haven't read any of the full Gospels yet. I've read most of Matthew, but it is on my plan of reading. But I haven't gotten into it yet. But I've heard John is a lot of people's favorite Gospels. So yeah, so that is the inspiration for her story. And then she also has a glossary, which, thank you. I'm very much learning about Jewish culture just by the words they use. And I've heard of some of them from The Chosen, And some of them I had never heard of. And before The Chosen, I am not Jewish. I don't know anybody who is Jewish, so I had no idea some of these. We're having spaghetti tonight. This is authentic Italian spaghetti. A friend of my husband's went to Italy, so we get to partake in some authentic pasta. And yes, I break my pasta up. So, anyways, so yeah, I was very interested in that, and they have like, you know, the bride price and like how they got married and all that, but you get a little bit of snippet of in the first chapter because Shamira's oldest sister, who's 16, which is crazy to me, but anywho, that's how they did it. So she is getting married, and it's like their preparation for her getting married, and so you're getting introduced to the characters and all that. And there was something in here that I wanted to mention. I was talking about like where was it? Something about hold on. I thought I was right here. Okay, so this is a quote from their mother. Eliana is the sister, and Shamira's mother. She says, "Eliana, your father and I have been praying for you and for this very hour, the wedding day, since the day we knew we were expecting you. When you were born, we began to pray for your husband-to-be as well." And that just made me think, as a mom, my daughter is almost 1. Time flies. But it just made me think, like, I do pray for my daughter every single day for her health, for her well-being, for protection for her, and for her future. I just want the best for her, and I pray that God would bless her throughout her life. And but I had never thought of praying for her future husband. My goodness, this is struggling. All the steam in my face, but I never thought of. Sorry, this is what happens whenever you're multitasking. But oh, it's about to overflow. Y'all, I don't cook. Like, this is not okay. Okay, where is that? Okay, hold on. Move it off the heat. If y'all have any cooking tips, if y'all who make vlogs have cooking tips, like basic cooking tips, I'd appreciate it, because your girl is a struggle bus. We bought some HelloFresh meals, and I burnt every single one 5 times in a row. So yeah. Anywho, what was I saying? Praying for her future husband. I had just never thought of that, and just it's so weird to me to think that yes, theoretically he exists right now. When she's 1, her future husband is out there right now. Like, what is his upbringing being like? Like, how is his health? Who's taking care of him? Who loves him? I don't know. I went on a whole like mind explosion thing just from that one quote, and it's not even the point of the story. But I just thought about that. Like, I need to make an effort to pray for her future husband. And yeah, I really appreciated that quote. So I put the book down, and when I was panicking over my water overflowing. We're good now for the moment. So then I think I have a theory of what is going to happen. And this is in the first chapter, so this is not really anything spoilery. But there is her cousin who's, I think she's 3 or 4, and she's not speaking. So they are not sure if she's just shy or a slow learner, but over time they're realizing that she's behind, or she's not like other kids her age. And I'm like, first of all, we have a kid with special needs representation in this book, and I'm wondering if that is who Shamira goes to Jesus to heal. Like when it says she's in pursuit of a miracle, I wonder if that's why. Which, if that is the case, like, if it's a child, I don't know. I've never cried on a book, but maybe this will do it to me. We'll see. But I also thought, like, this just makes me think. And in like Counted with the Stars by Colin Cassette, there is also a character in there. I think he has like a speech impediment or some kind of mental challenge where he like can't communicate on the same way. Like he has like broken words or something. But this child can't speak at all. And I just thought of like, I have experience in working with delays and disabilities, and like especially in early childhood, and some of the stuff that we can do now, like how blessed are our modern day kids to be able to benefit from services or supports or therapies, whereas back then they were ostracized. You know, people thought they were sinful, like it was their fault. You know, they didn't receive the same level of care by society. You know, they could have even been killed. I don't know, you know, stuff like that where I'm like, wow, I can't even imagine what it would have been like to have a sibling or a family member, or even yourself, you know, have a delay or disability that they didn't understand. One, they didn't have a name for, they had no cure for, they had no treatment for, you know, they had no therapies, nothing other than just, for better lack of a word, winging it and how to help them. So I just thought about that too. So we'll see if that's what's actually going to happen. That's my theory. I'm only in chapter 1, and those are just some of my thoughts. I've already talked for 12 minutes about just chapter 1 and the introduction stuff. So yeah, that's why I thought this would be a good vlog type video. So also, I forgot to say, I wanted y'all to share in my struggle. I gave blood today, and I was a human pincushion, basically. I have two, one was successful, one was not. This one, my right arm, I have teeny tiny little veins, and I have given blood before, but some people have more trouble than others. And so I had a feeling that this would happen, but the first person who tried, she dug around in this arm. She called somebody else over. She dug around my arm. They called the team leader over. She dug around my arm. And I'm like, the last time this happened, when someone was digging around, it wasn't quite to that level of pain as that time before, but my whole arm turned black and blue. So I'm very curious to see what my arm looks like after that experience. And they're like, are we hurting you? I'm like, yeah, you're hurting me. You digging around in there with a needle, that's gonna hurt. Anyways, so I was bound and determined. I'm like, I'm gonna give blood today. So I'm like, go ahead and stick me in the other arm. I have had luck recently in this arm, which is weird because this arm used to be the problem child, and then they moved to the left arm, and now the left arm is the problem child, and this one's fine, apparently, because they got it the first time on this one. So thank goodness for that. I was able to give blood successfully. I've had one time where I got really close and the time ran out. I didn't even know that was a thing. I thought they just let you lay there until it all comes out what they need, but they have to do it within a certain time frame. So I did it, yay! But yeah, I feel weird with 2 bandages, and I just wanted to share that. So let me know if you have any experience with giving blood that was not so fun, because, you know, let's all share in the misery. But it's for a good cause, so there's that. But anywho, talk to y'all in a few. Hey y'all, it is Friday, April 5th. I wasn't able to film yesterday, but here we are today. I wanted to give you kind of a quick update of where I'm at with my reading. So I'm in chapter 5, so about 20% of the way through, according to Goodreads and Storygraph. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I had a couple of thoughts as I was reading that I wanted to try and make sure I mentioned, because like it's so hard to remember everything as I'm reading, like, oh, I need to talk about that, oh, I need to talk about that, this made me think about this, and I need to share that. So hopefully I'm doing an okay job at sharing with you my thoughts. So I found out a little bit more about Shamira's cousin, the little girl who I thought had some kind of delay or disability going on. It told me in the next chapter, like it spelled out what exactly is going on with her. And she is deaf mute, so she can't speak, she can't hear. And there is a scene where Libby runs away from the home, and the family is, very concerned, like worried about her, like they're obviously going after her. But the thought process of Shamira getting to her, she's like, oh my gosh, what if we can't find her? What if she hides somewhere and we never find her because she can't talk, she can't, communicate how to get back to wherever she lives. She can't hear, so she can't hear her family yelling for her. And I just thought, wow, again, going off of my conversation from earlier, how hard it must have been for not only the person with the delay or disability, but their family as well back in the day. How to take care of them, make sure they're safe and fulfill their needs and all the things. And yeah, so that was somebody wants to buy my lawnmower. So anyways, so yeah, I was thinking about that. And then also there is something that made me think. There's a mezuzah, I'm reading from the glossary, a small box traditionally affixed to the doorways of Jewish homes containing a parchment inscribed with Hebrew words from the Torah. So whenever a Jewish person would leave their home, they would take time to touch the box and say a prayer to God. And it's mentioned several times, but there was one particular passage where it was talking about, like, Shamira, you need to make sure you pray before you go rushing out. You need to take time to thank God, praise God, put Him first before you do what you want to do, before you go through with your day, before you go do whatever. And I just thought about that, and I was like, I really need to be more intentional about praying. Even before, like, mundane tasks. Like, sometimes I'll pray, like, while I'm driving to work. I'm like, please, God, please let me get to where I need to go safely. These drivers are crazy out here. Like, please let all these people, the traffic in my way, please let me get there on time. That type of thing. But I don't know if I don't think I do. I don't think I intentionally, pray before I start my car, or even before I leave the door. It's just not a habit, and I would really like to get into the habit, because most of the time I'm in a rush. I'm like, I need to get to where I need to go. I'm always running late. But yeah, just need to be more careful about putting God first, because that's what we should do. So yeah, I thought about that. And then the Jewish culture, I'm loving, there is a hint of a romance going on. There is some feelings between Shamira and this guy, really. I was going to say little boy, but where I'm at now, they're teenagers. But Asa is his name, and I'm really enjoying right now, the discussion or the description of Jewish culture, because it's talking about how their house looked, and their meals, and how they're living in the home with the whole family, all the aunts, uncles, grandparents are living under one roof, basically. And I just thought, wow, how different culturally we are in the Western civilization. And it just made me think that would be so nice to have that family unit just all be together, because you get so caught up in your day-to-day lives. In Western culture, you go to work, you get the kids to school, whatever, and there's that missed connection, missed socialization, missed opportunity to just constantly be around your family. I mean, yes, there are downsides to it, but it would just be nice, I think. You can drive each other crazy, but, we just don't have that in modern day society. So, all right, sorry, the hub's called. What was I saying? Yeah, I find it interesting, different cultures, and how Western civilization is more like individualized, and has that really helped us? I don't know. So yeah, then there's also like Asa, the male love interest in this story. He meets Shamira when they're kids, and like it flashes forward 6 years later, and there's hints of abuse by his father. Like his father is very tyrannical, and he's a Pharisee, or maybe even a Sadducee. I'm not quite sure which one he is, but he is a Levite, and so that's the priests of the time. So Asa is studying to be a priest, and his father's like very, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do what I say. And there's hints of like physical and emotional abuse, and then abuse with Asa's mother, so she's like terrified of him. So I just want to let you know that that's in there. It's not especially detailed or anything, but it's sad that Asa's childhood and his parents are like that, his father specifically. So I just wanted to mention that in case it was something that someone wanted to know about beforehand. But, so, while I am in my car, I went to the doctor today, and everything is hunky-dory. It's just that yearly fun visit that we have. So, but, as a reward to myself for going to the doctor, I went to Goodwill, and I got some things. And now I'm about to go into Miracle Hill, because they're like right next door to each other. And yeah, I want to show you real quick what I got from Goodwill, and then we'll go into Miracle Hill. So I got this whole bag for $9.37. So I'll show you real quick. So I got some little kids clothes. So I got my daughter some sizes that are like 18 months and 2 years, which she's just in 12 months right now. But isn't that cute? Like, my thought process is, like, I'm stacking up on some clothes that she'll need in, like, the next couple of years. Isn't it cute? It's a little swimsuit top thing for when we go to the beach. But my thought process is, like, I can spend a little bit of money now and save money in the long run. And then also I learned my lesson with trying to find kid clothes for her, like, in the past. Like scrambling to find some clothes that actually fit her, because I didn't realize I didn't have enough of one size. And then that adds up over time, so I'm just stocking up now so that I can have clothes ready to go for her. And then some books. So I got this book. I've never heard of it, but I've heard of Lisa T. Bergren. I thought she just wrote fiction, but apparently not. So it's Life on Planet Mom, a down-to-earth guide to your changing relationships. And obviously this was like in the 2000s, because look at that phone. But I thought maybe, you know, there might be something in here that's helpful, because that is true. Like, once you become a mom, things change. So maybe something in there will help me out. I grabbed another Magic Treehouse book. Yay! Mummies in the Morning. Alliteration kills me. By Mary Pope Osborne. Got it out successfully. And then I ran across this. I love running across like unique books that I don't know if I'll ever make anything out of here. I hope I will. But I was like, ooh, this looks like a nice brand new-ish book, but it has like different little recipes. Oh, it's called The Lady's Book of Baking, a collection of elegant recipes. But it has like tea stuff. I can't talk. Vanilla macaroons. Y'all, macaroons intimidate me. Like, they are a very difficult cookie to make, and they intimidate me, so I haven't ever tried them before. Tea rolls, like it has, you know, it has like the whole like teacup and teapot picture vibe thing going on. Frosted carrot cake, mini strawberry sponge cakes. I think I mentioned before that I had recently got like a tea cookbook thing, and Mother's Day is coming up, and I'm doing hosting a tea party for the moms in my life, and I'm gonna see if I can make anything out of there. I was like, yay, $2. And then the last book I got, which was a pure luck find, was this classic children's Bible storybook. And like the illustrations are very nice. Like there's Samson and the worst of the plagues. Like I've got a couple of different Bibles, children's Bibles, but you know, you can never have too many for $1. So this is like practically brand new, and it's in pristine condition, and it's, you know, a children's Bible with pretty illustrations. So I call that a win. So a whole bag of stuff for $9.37. It's a good day, and let's go see what Miracle Hill has. Alright, I just got done with the Miracle Hill, and not as much luck in there. They're pretty high compared to like Goodwill and Salvation Army. Some Miracle Hills are not that bad, but I feel like that one's kind of a little bit pricey for used goods. But I found two things. I'll share them real quick. I couldn't help myself, y'all. If you know me, I love owls. I couldn't help it. It was $1. She won't be able to wear it till she's 3, so 2 years from now. But like, I have a stockpile of clothes that I usually get up to 2 at this point. Like I'm getting stuff consistently, but 3 and up, like, well, 3 to 5. I just grabbed stuff that has owls on it. And then I got C.S. Lewis's The Voyage of the Dawn Treader, book 5. It's like in pretty nice condition. It's $1.50. So there were some Dear America books in there. They were like practically brand new, pristine condition. There was like a whole stack of them, and I was like, should I? But their books are expensive for used books. They were $1.50 a piece for the paperbacks, or $2.50 for hardbacks. And I'm like, I'm not paying. If they were 50 cents or even $1 a piece, I would have got them. But my daughter's nowhere near that reading age yet, so I've got some time to find a better deal. So that was a bummer. But you know, sometimes you can get like 10 for $1 sale somewhere. So who knows if I hit the jackpot somewhere else. So it is what it is. So on to home. Check in with y'all later on a reading progress. I have no idea what I'm doing this weekend. The Hubs is out of town. Starting this weekend, he has some military training he has to do. So that is what it is. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. We'll see. Hey y'all, today is Monday, April 8th, and I just got done with a doctor's appointment. Yeah, so I'll go into that real quick in case you're curious. I find these personal stories, I don't know, weirdly fascinating just because it's interesting to see what the human body does. I don't know. But, so I had mentioned before in one of my videos that I had some hearing issues in my left ear. And that was whenever I had the flu back in November. My eardrum ended up being perforated, bursting. I remember when it happened, it was very painful. And so I got put on some antibiotics to treat it, and I don't know, it's just a long saga. So this is back in November. Since November, I have not been able to hear out of it. Everything kind of sounds muffled. Like whenever I hear some certain videos or certain frequencies, I guess, it like reverberates in my ears. Like I can feel it hitting the eardrum type of thing. Very annoying. My husband will be in another room and he'll be talking to me, and I could not hear him unless he was like standing directly in front of me, and I could see his mouth. So I could hear out of my right ear, but my left ear was a no-go. So I ended up going to the regular doctor. They referred me. Of course, nobody called me, so I had to call them. And so then I had to wait a month. And the first time I went, I got into the appointment, and they were like, we're going to test your hearing. I was like, okay. So the first test I did was a pressure test. So my right ear had a hump, so it was working properly, and the left ear was completely flat. Like it was, my eardrum was not functioning the way it should have. So they're like, you can't hear, and I was like, yes, I know. So then they bumped me up to see a PA, And she took a look at my ear, and she's like, I think you have fluid behind your ear, and so we're gonna have you do nasal balloons for 3 weeks. Come back if it doesn't help. It did nothing, except make me dizzy. And so I came back 3 weeks later, and so she was going to put a hole in my ear and get the fluid out, nicely saying. And she was like, Mooner in there is very painful. And she's like, well, this is not doing really anything because I don't want to get too TMI, but you have something I've never seen before, and so I'm going to put you in eardrops and have things loosen up. Yeah, so I was on eardrops for a week, came back today, and so she's in there looking at it. She's like, it's not working for me. And I was like, no. And so she had to go get the doctor to come, and he took a peek, and so he did what needed to be done, and now I can hear. Yay! I'm so excited. Like, praise the Lord, I can hear now. I was like, how long has it been? It's been since November. That's been 5 months of me not being able to hear, and now everything is so loud. I'm like, is this really, do I have like bionic hearing now? Like, what is this? Like, my car is so loud. Obviously my music was louder than before, but I don't know. I'm still kind of like not quite trusting it because I can hear myself. I don't know. It's almost like I don't know how to hear right anymore. I don't know. But anywho, at least I can hear better, even if it's bionic hearing now. I don't know, but I can hear. Yay! So I can't complain about bad hearing anymore to my husband. Oh, I can't hear you. Well, now hopefully I can. So anyways, I'm sorry that was TMI, but I just thought I would share because the weird stuff always happens to me. Like, I don't know what it is, but every time something comes up for me, they're like, I've never seen this before. And I'm like, you have no idea how many times I've heard this. Okay, so anyways, I am done with the doctor's office, and while I was in there, I read more of Jerusalem's Daughter, and I think I'm like 50%, halfway through. I am page 165, I think that's like chapter 11. So I didn't get much reading done over the weekend. It was quite busy, and the only time I've really sat down to read is like during my lunch break while I'm waiting on the doctor's office, and right before bed, and by that time I'm usually exhausted, so this is taking me a little longer than your typical because I'm physically reading it. But a couple of more thoughts on the book. So Shamira's grandfather, it's interesting how Jenna like incorporated Jesus's birth into the story, because Shamira's grandfather was one of the shepherds that the angels shared that Jesus was born. And so it was very interesting seeing. I've never read a story outside of the Bible about the shepherds. It's a very small part of the story, but I just thought it was interesting because it talked about how he is sold out, like he knows the Messiah's here, but people wouldn't believe him, and so he was kind of ostracized from society, and it affected their family. And so King Herod ordered the murder of little boys 2 and under, and so it affected his family, and so they blamed him, the grandfather, for perpetuating what they think is this lie. And so it caused division between family members, and so they ended up moving out of Bethlehem, and and to this day his family just thinks he's this old crazy old man, and Shamira is basically the only one that believes him. So I just thought that was interesting. I never thought of how even the shepherds who saw the glory of God, and the angels proclaiming his birth and all that, how that impacted their life. I just never thought of that. I just they got to see something glorious, and then I thought, I never thought much past it, so it was interesting to think about how, that had lasting repercussions of how Jesus never promises an easy life for Christians, and that's definitely and one of the many stories of how being a Christian, I guess, I don't know if you would call him I guess you would call him a Christian, but at that point, because Christ is there. So anyways, how that is not always easy, and we have to stand by in our faith, which is not easy to do. I haven't really talked much about it, but I was really inspired by Mrs. Thomas's video where she was talking about standing true in the faith, and being against the world. Like, she had a whole talk about it, and I was just really inspired, and I appreciated her video, and I'll link it below. But my job, which I don't really talk about much for privacy reasons, but I'll just say that it is a very, very woke environment, and I think that I am the only Christian in that setting. And it's very, very hard because some of the stuff that we're asked to do, I've been vocal about in some cases, and in some cases I'm like, there are some benefits to having this job, so I'm like kind of caught between, like, should I say something or should I not say something? And it's just hard, and I need to try and be more vocal. Another reason why I struggle with being vocal is because I'm not the best at explaining things and, like, being argumentative and debative, and I'm just, like, I don't have words. So I'm just scared that if I say something, then it'll come, like, I won't do it justice, or I'll flounder and then just get walked all over to begin with. So I could go more into detail. Like, it is a very, very extreme environment. Like, my role in what I do, I enjoy, and I think it is helpful to people, but the organization itself, I very much, there's hardly anything that I agree with personally or ideologically or anything. Like, very, very few things that I agree with. So I'm struggling with that. Like I said, it's like, will I get fired? Does that matter? Like, the Lord will provide, but that is something I've been struggling with for a while, because I was not hired by this organization. It took over the company, I guess you could say, of who I used to work for. So this is not something I signed up for. But yeah, that's where things are. Anyways, yeah, let me know if y'all have experiences with working in environments that don't agree or don't mesh well with your personal beliefs. And let me know how you handled it, because I could use some encouragement. But anyways, yeah, so that's all I'll say for now. I think we're about to meet Jesus, so that is exciting. Well, in the story, Shamira is about to meet Jesus, and I'm excited for that, because I'm like, I've never read a fiction story about, with Jesus in it, and I'm just excited. Like, Asa sorta kinda met him, but it wasn't like a face-to-face, like, he's talking to Jesus. But I think Shamira is about to meet him, and Asa too. I think they're together. But I can't wait. I just love it. I want them to meet Jesus. Like, I want to meet Jesus in person too. If I could go back in time, like, if I had the ability to go back in time, I would go and meet Jesus. I know my answer to that question. So I think that's all I wanted to say for now. Sorry, this is super duper chatty. I have no idea how long this is going to be. But anywho, talk to y'all later. Hey y'all, so it was Tuesday, April 9th, and I am on my lunch break reading Jerusalem's Daughter. And she just met Jesus. I'm so excited. I was like reading the chapter, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is it. We're going to get to meet Jesus. And talks about like how she kneels before him and like he says, "Daughter, rise," or something like that. And he touched her and she started to cry. And I was like, oh, I've never read a fictional account of a character meeting Jesus before, but I was so excited for her. And I'm like, I've thought before too, like, what is my reaction going to be when I see Jesus in heaven, or even before then, if he comes sooner than that. But, um, or like, what would have been my reaction if I was living, when Jesus was walking the earth before? And I'm pretty sure I would cry. Like, how could you not? Like, the magnitude of meeting your creator, and I just can't imagine. I think I would start bawling. But yeah, I was talking about she started to cry and she felt like this overwhelming peace, and I was like, I want to meet Jesus. Like every time I see someone meeting Jesus, like usually it's in the Bible now, but that I'm reading, but like this just makes me excited to meet Jesus one day, because like I don't even have words for what that experience will be like, and I can't wait. But yeah, it's I was like so excited to read that part. So I had to make a clip about that because there's still a lot left in the book. Like what else is I'm assuming it says Passion Week, so I'm pretty sure like we're going through the Passion Week events, and we're not at the end yet, so I'm hoping that we'll get the resurrection part. Like, I can't wait. So I'll let y'all know my further thoughts, but I, of course, just had to make a clip about this part because it's so good. So it is Thursday night, pretty late, Thursday, April 11th, and I haven't gotten ready for bed yet, but I wanted to go ahead and film this clip real quick so I can get some thoughts out. So I took a bit of a break from Jerusalem's Daughter, just a tiny break, because I was preparing for a new Bible study that is starting up for a couple weeks at my church, and we're reading A Shepherd's Look at Psalm 23 by W. Phillips Keller, and my pastor said this is the best little book about the Psalm 23 specifically. So we're going to be going over that for a couple of weeks, and tonight was the first night. It was going over chapter 1 and 2, so that was nice. So we got home kind of late, or me and my daughter, I took her, she went to childcare, but so anyways, yeah, I wanted to talk about that because the Lord has really been working on my heart lately about my investment and my involvement with Him, my relationship with Him, I guess you could say. Because I'll be perfectly honest, pretty soon after I learned that I was pregnant last year, so a little over a year and a half ago, my church involvement plummeted. Like before that, I was in choir, so I did choir practice. I did choir, singing, worship service as part of the Sunday morning service. I did Sunday school. I did volunteering events. I was pretty involved in church. And then I got pregnant and my body just rebelled. Didn't want to do anything that didn't require getting off the couch. Like it was pretty tough. So I couldn't really go anywhere. So that plummeted. And then after I had my baby, I just felt like it, the 3 months of adjusting to having the baby, you don't really get much sleep. And then we just kept getting sick all the time. One week my daughter would be sick, I would be sick the other week, then my husband maybe. Sometimes he went by unscathed somehow, but it felt like we were constantly rotating through sickness. And then, so all that being said, there was a lot of things that physically prevented me from getting to church, but that doesn't mean I couldn't have watched the live stream or even the recorded service, but I didn't. Um, and I was reading a chronological Bible study for a while. I talked about it on here before, but I got as far as Judges, and I have not picked the Bible up outside of church for the last several weeks, and I can really tell an impact on myself because of that. But it's almost like my brain is rebelling against anything that requires focus. Like, um, I just, I can't. Like, if I could explain to you my progression, like shortly after my daughter was born, I would try and read it and it would put me to sleep, which is so terrible to say, but it was like that extra brain power to try and process what I was trying to read and trying to think through and really focus on just took me out. Like I could not do it. I would read a couple of lines of scripture and then I would be falling asleep. I was like, I can't do this. That's severe sleep deprivation for you. So over the year, I've been slowly getting more sleep. But still, it's just like, there's just so much to do. Like, I'm constantly doing something for her, taking care of her, cleaning the house, taking care of things, making sure we have food. She has food. We have food. We have enough bottles, all the things. It's just hard. And by the time I get done with all of that so that I can be prepared and ready to go for the next day, which honestly I am still struggling at doing a good job of that. But by that time, I'm so tired and I just want to go to bed. And that's what I've been doing. And yeah, so I stopped going to service for a while. I just wasn't getting anything spiritual, really. And I could really feel an impact on myself. And so recently I started going back to church, and one of the services, of course, that's how the Lord talks to you, because once you know, there was a sermon about this very topic, about like the importance of the local church. And then a couple of days later, Allie Bastucky, which I love her podcast, she had a guest on, and he was talking about the importance of the local church, which, by the way, I'll link that below in case you're interested, because all that being said, yes, the church is very, very important. And if you aren't plugged into a church, you need to be physically going. That podcast was talking about, yes, there are online pastors that can evangelize and tell you scripture, but it's not the same thing as shepherding the people. Being a shepherd for your flock as a pastor, checking in on them, praying for them, guiding them, physically being there. That is the role of the pastor, and you're missing out on it, on having that relationship with a pastor in a church if you're not physically going. And so all of this stuff was like working on my heart because I was not physically there at my church sermon to hear this. But I was like, I need to go. So I made an effort to go to church, and I'm trying to do better at being involved. So I went last Sunday. I'm going to try my best to go again this Sunday. I've been going off and on past few months, but I'm going to try and be more consistent. And so when I saw this Bible study, with a 1-year-old, like, you have to, they're still pretty much in a routine. You have to feed them by certain times, bedtime, such and such time. And I was like, I don't know, this is like right during her eating time, dinner time. But I was like, Lord, help me get there. Help me get there and just tell me what I need to do. And we made it. We were like right on time. And it was just a great experience. I can't tell you how good it feels to be in the presence of other believers and just soaking it all in, because I don't get that on a daily basis. Like at work, I think I mentioned a little bit before, I'm kind of hesitant to talk about it too much because, I don't want to get into all that right now. I may later, but it's just kind of an odd place to be in because you're not supposed to talk about work, but on social media. But yeah, so yeah, it's just different sitting next to someone who actually cares about you. And when I walked in, like, mind you, like, I haven't done anything like this in a year, and my church is pretty big, and I did not recognize a single person in that whole room. And I'm fairly introverted. Like, I can talk to you, but like, I'm not especially confident enough to just strike up a whole conversation. I'm pretty awkward to begin with. Like, once I get warmed up, I'm usually a pretty okay kind of, I guess, but whatever. But I had walked in like a good bit, and I was kind of looking around, and wouldn't you know, this girl from halfway across the room got up from her chair, and she's like, "Do you have some place to sit? You want to sit with me, with our group? There's a spot open." And I was like, "Yes, please." And like, she was like half a room away. She had got up and got me, and I was like, thank you, Lord, because I needed that. And wouldn't you know, that group of ladies, one of them is the leader of a Sunday school, because I was thinking I wanted to change the one I was going to. I'm not sure if it's a good fit now, but she's the leader of a Sunday school, and it sounds exactly what I need. And I was like, look at the Lord, because I was like, I'm where I need to be. And the message that was talking about was that the Lord is my shepherd, and like the relationship between a shepherd and sheep. God is our shepherd, we are the sheep, and how he cares about us. He knows about us. He knew about us before time. Like, he planned us, he cared for us, he died on the cross for us. And I just, it was so good. I took some notes. Like, Christ chooses us, buys us, calls us by name, makes us his own, and delights in caring for us. So, can you truly say, I shall not want? No trouble is too great as he cares for his flock. So, just a couple of pinpoints that I read. But all that being said, if you've gotten out of going physically to church, of course there's seasons where, you're not able to physically go, and something is better than nothing. Watching the live stream, thank God for modern day technology where a lot of churches broadcast on, so that you can at least get the word in some format. But nothing will replace being able to go in person and worshiping with other believers. And even if it's just a small grouping of other believers and talking to them, that is something. And that is phenomenal. And the feeling that I got from being there tonight, I want more. I want to go to church. I want to do Bible study. I want to do Sunday school. I want to keep doing this Bible study, like more Bible studies. And I'm just so pumped. And I want to encourage anybody who just got out of the habit, got lazy, or something happened, you just haven't made it back out there. You really should, because it is so, so worth it. I never regret going to church. Never have I regretted going to church. I have regretted not going. So, I know that's very ranty, but I feel like it needed to be said. So, as far as Jerusalem's Daughter, I am a little bit farther along. I'm over halfway, maybe like 65-ish%. But yeah, still enjoying it. And I don't really have any updates about what's happening there. I think I've talked enough in this clip, but I will check in with y'all later. Hello. So this is a different angle. I had to find a new one because on my dash you can see my daughter, and that's a no-go. So yes, here we are. Actually, it's not that bad. I may do this from now on in the car. I don't know, because I have nowhere to actually prop you up well in the dash. I feel like the other angle looked worse than this one. I don't know. But anywho, we went to the library. My daughter and I, my mini me, my budding library enthusiast. But I wanted to show y'all our tiny book haul because our patience was wearing thin. So nap time was not had very well at daycare, so we have low patience for sitting in the car seat. Which, strangely enough, she's being very quiet right now. Are you okay back there? Yeah, she's chewing on her book. So, anyways, not the book from the library, but like a floppy, crinkly sounding book that we own. So, anyways, what we got. So, what I got most excited for is Tracy Peterson's A Love Discovered. This is a marriage of convenience. I spoke too soon, didn't I? Oh no. All right, I'm hurrying. I grabbed this because I recognized it. It's on my TBR, Heart of the Sea by Mariah Chavez. But I grabbed it because it was on the local author section. And I looked in the back. She went to USC, University of South Carolina. So that's probably why. I'm showing your books, Pumpkin. Look. Let's see. Let's not show our library, but Animals in the Forest. Gee, look how stinking cute. Like, how can you not get all the board books? Am I right? Like, how cute is Lowell? Oh, I love it. And then Everybody Needs a Buddy. So, like, stinking cute. I'll be reading that this week. And then I grabbed this. I thought of the Southern Charm readathon. I was like, this is perfect. I may just keep renewing it and then show it more during a Southern Charm readathon vlog. But it is Southern Baby, Southern Sayings for Little Ones. And it's by Rebecca Murdoch. Fixin' to. Like, I can't wait. I may need to buy that one. But, yeah. Oh, and then we got some seeds from the seed library. So I got sage, oregano, and morning glory. So I will try and plant those and see if they'll live, but we'll see. But we're going to go back home now. Hey y'all, so I am in my husband's gaming area, if you're curious where I was. But this will be the final clip for this video because I finished Jerusalem's Daughter. I finished it last night, and I wanted to think about how I wanted to review and rate this book. So I have decided to rate this a 4. I really enjoyed it, and I would highly recommend it. Some of my favorite things about this is Shamira's faith. I thought it was exceptionally well written, very inspirational. She had grown up hearing about the Messiah's birth from her grandfather, who was one of the shepherds that the angels delivered the news of the Lord's birth to, and she was pretty much the only one out of her family that really believed that the Messiah was actually here. And so she led her family in faith, and she was just inspirational that way. I love that about Christian faith Christian characters that really show their faith, and just a reminder of how important our faith is and how to be steadfast in our faith. And I just love characters that can be a role model for faith. So I really enjoyed that. And then I love seeing ancient Jewish culture, like the different things. I learned a lot from this book, and you can really tell that Jenna did her research and incorporated different things and was trying to show context or background of what was happening during this time period to inform the reader. And so I really appreciated that. I love the author's notes and how intentional she was about sharing information and her inspiration and all that. The love story was really sweet, and I just loved seeing a story that was fictional but like set during a real life event of the Passion Week, and seeing how fictional characters could have been, in that time period and experiencing it. And it was just really interesting to see like the Bible come to life in a different way. And so I really enjoyed that. And I will say, as far as there are parts in here that Jesus is in. He's not in here a whole bunch, maybe like, I don't know, like 15-20%, maybe that, if that, where he's actually like as a character physically in the setting. But I did want to mention that Jenna has an author's note at the back where she talks about like what in the story was actually based on scripture and what was part of her imagination or kind of stretched or tweaked a little bit to make it fit into the story. So I just wanted to let people know that in case that bothered them. But it didn't really bother me that much. I mean, well, it didn't bother me at all. Like, I just noticed, which I mean, I kind of expected that to be part of the case because, you know, we don't know everything that Jesus said. We know a lot of what he says because of the Bible, but, you know, not every second of, you know, his life was recorded. So there think there's room for, as long as it's scripturally based, I think there's room for that. So I think Jenna did try to do that. So as far as like the voice of this book, it kind of felt like upper teenager to early 20s, like 17 to 22, 23, I don't know. That's what the voice read like to me. And this is Jenna's debut novel, so there were a couple of things that I noticed about the writing itself, but the story is really good, and I really appreciated the story, and I'm definitely going to continue on and read the second book. And I think Jenna had said something on her social media about writing more from this family, maybe, I'm not sure, but definitely going to try the second book eventually. So again, highly recommend this book. I think you should give it a shot, particularly if you love biblical fiction, romance, want to be in the mindset for Passion Week, for Easter. Highly recommend this book, particularly during that time, but I mean really any time, because it's just a reminder of faith in general. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching. Hope you have a lovely day, and yeah, talk to you in the comments and see you in the next one. Bye y'all.